From Royal Communications Incorporated, good evening and welcome to King's News Broom 45 minutes news about Liberia, Africa in our one word. Today is Tuesday, September 9, 2025, and I'm Shemo Dia presenting. In the headlines, students of Harper Demonstration High School in Maryland demand immediate renovation of school building and commencement of learning activities. Accused local authorities of halting renovation works initiated by a private group. Liberia Telecommunications Authority former chairman Abdullah Kamara released on US 295,000 criminal appearance bond, minutes after incarceration at Morovia Central Prison for economic sabotage and other corruption-related charges. And also in the news tonight, renowned human rights lawyer and political leader of Liberian People's Party challenges Liberian journalists to uphold integrity and principles. Councillor Tiawan Gonglo says Liberian media is being entrenched with cash for content practices. Away from home, Africa Coast former First Lady Simon Gbagbo, 76, is the surprise inclusion in a list of 5 candidates who have been officially cleared to contest next month's presidential election. Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli has resigned amid Nepal's worst unrest in decades as public anger mounts over the deaths of 19 anti corruption protesters in clashes with police on Monday. These plus the news bulletin, voices of those making the news at our package. We'll take a short break to be right back. Welcome back at this juncture with John Seman, just with the news bulletin.
More than 100 students of Harper Demonstration High School on Tuesday took to the streets in Harper to protest against what they term local government authority refusal to renovate their school. The public school students carrying placards chanted slogans: "We want our building. We want to go to school. No building, no lesson for all." They expressed frustration over their exclusion from classes while their students in other schools resume the 2025-2026 academic year. The protesting students also petitioned Maryland County authorities to ensure the resumption of renovation works on their school building, which was initiated by Bedell Foundation. According to a report, the Bedell Foundation has since halted the school renovation following an alleged stay order from Maryland County local authorities. Speaking on behalf of the students, Melvin Toll, Student Council Government President, questioned Maryland County Superintendent Erin Cole about the decision to stop the renovation. In response, Superintendent Cole denied the government issuing any order halting the renovation, describing the matter as politics, and clarified that the Bedell Foundation did not consult local authorities before commencing the project. Former Liberia Telecommunication Authority Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Tama Corporation, Abdullah Kamara, has been released from the Morovia Central Prison following a $295,000 criminal appearance bond filed by his legal team. The criminal appearance bond was filed by the former LTA chairman minutes after he was incarcerated at the Morovia Central Prison. Earlier on Tuesday, the First Judicial Circuit Court, Criminal Court C, ordered the rearrest and subsequent detention of the former LTA boss at the Morovia Central Prison. His rearrest and detention follow multiple corruption-related charges brought down against him and others by the country's Anti-Corruption Commission. The charges, according to LACC indictment, include economic sabotage, theft of property, misapplication of entrusted property, criminal solicitation, among others. According to the LACC indictment, Mr. Kamara and others allegedly misused public money and also falsified official records, which it said violated sections 15.50 and 15.81 of the Liberian Penal Code. Meanwhile, Mr. Kamara's release now sets the stage for what many are calling a high-profile trial at Criminal Court C. Abdullah Kamara's case has formed part of other cases being considered a landmark in Liberia's ongoing fight against corruption. Renowned human rights lawyer and political leader of the Liberian People's Party, Tiawan Gonglo, has challenged Liberian journalists to uphold the principles of ethical journalism and resist what he called growing trend of cash for content practices. In a statement issued Tuesday, Councillor Tiawan Gonglo emphasized the critical role of journalism in democratic society, describing it as a noble profession that shines light in dark places, holds public officials accountable, and empowers citizens with truth. He expressed concern over what he described as the increase of unethical practices within the Liberian media landscape, particularly the acceptance of financial incentives in exchange for favorable coverage of politicians and other influential figures. Councillor Tiawangonglo warned that such conduct, which he termed as cash for content politics, undermines the credibility of the press, compromises integrity of journalists, and poses a serious threat to democratic governance. He urged that such practice is a form of mercenary journalism and used to distort public discourse and weakens national institutions. United States Charge d'Affaires Joseph Zadroni on Tuesday met with Liberia's Minister of Finance and Development Planning, Augustin Bourgafoin, to discuss Liberia's readiness for a critical visit from the Millennium Challenge Corporation. The MCC delegation is expected to arrive in Liberia to determine whether the country qualifies for a second MCC compact, something considered an opportunity the country cannot afford to squander. According to a release issued by the U.S. Embassy near Monrovia, the meeting underscores growing U.S. concern over Liberia's slow pace of reform and raised the dangers for a government that has struggled to deliver on its promises of economic transformation. The U.S. Embassy further that at the center of Tuesday's meeting was Liberia's potential re-eligibility for the second MCC compact. The first compact, which concluded in 2021, focused on infrastructure, particularly in electricity and road systems. Despite the U.S. has indicated its willingness to continue engagement, requalification is not automatic and depends heavily on Liberia's performance in key governance and economic indicators. The meeting also focused on Liberia's stated transition from a dependency to a trade and investment-based economy. The discussion also highlighted areas for potential growth, including mining, energy, agriculture, and technology, but those sectors remain constrained by chronic inefficiencies, policy instability, and lack of investors' confidence. A man believed to be in his 60s, named Rudolph Th., is making an urgent appeal to humanitarians and local authorities for support as he struggles to treat himself of cancer. Rudolph Th., a resident of Police Academy community, said he has been suffering from the condition for about a year. According to him, the illness began with what felt like a sudden bomb on his back, adding, after seeking medical attention at JFK, lab results confirmed that he suffered from sarcoma, a rare and aggressive form of cancer. Resigned senior economic consultant at the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, Say McCall, has criticized Finance and Development Planning Minister Gaffwan leadership, accusing him of poor administrative oversight and allowing the ministry to operate on autopilot. In a strongly worded statement issued regarding the 2.8 million United States dollars of budget spending, the former consultant alleged that the ministry is plagued by lack of coordination, weak internal control, and minimal accountability. MECO pointed to the 2025 General Auditing Commission report, which revealed that the government through the Ministry of Finance could not account for 2.8 million United States dollars in public funds, terming it a result of Minister Gafwan's weak leadership. He argued that the ministry's response to the audit, blaming documentation issues, was a weak excuse, especially given the extensive internal proper trail required for financial transactions. According to Merkel, financial requests are processed through a rigorous chain from the budget minister to the deputy for budget, then to unit heads, legal compliance reviewers, and finally to the minister himself, noting that each person in the chain signs and stores a copy of the transaction. The University of Liberia campus-based Student Unification Party has strongly rejected recent efforts by House Speaker Richard Cohn to restore calm at the institution, vowing to continue protesting over what it described as long-standing grievances. Speaker Richard Cohn recently met with university authorities and representatives of the Student Unification Party in an attempt to mediate ongoing tension between the students and the administration. Speaking to journalists Monday at the University Capitol Hill campus, SUB leaders condemned what they called poor state of facilities across UL campuses and reiterated corruption allegations against the university leadership. They described the decision by the university to resume normal academic and administrative operations as an affront and disservice to the student body, arguing that it ignores the critical issues they have raised. The student group further criticized UL President Dr. Lydia Mapayan, describing her over 7 months leadership at the university as a complete failure. They also accused Dr. Mapayan's leadership of prioritizing corruption over student welfare and infrastructure development. In what is being described as a strategic international engagement on behalf of Liberia's legal community, the president of the Liberia National Bar Association, Councillor Bono Vama, is expected to undertake a multi-week official mission to the United States. The trip, expected to last between 3 weeks to a month, will involve visits to several states and institutions as part of efforts to build partnerships and mobilize support for the legal sector in the country. According to Councillor Vama, the primary objectives of the visit include fostering exchange programs for Liberian lawyers and law students, identifying opportunities for capacity building initiatives, and seeking logistical support to boost the Bar Association programs and infrastructure. Councillor Vama maintains that the trip is fully supported by the Liberia National Bar Association constitutional mandate, which provides for collaboration with international bars. He also emphasized that the National Executive Council of the Bar has been briefed and approved the trip. Former Minister of Justice, Councillor Musa Dane, has challenged graduates of high schools to make their existence on earth worthwhile in order to impact society positively. Councillor Dane said every human being has a destiny, and at the end of the existence, everyone will have to take the exit, but the person's service to humanity and community will be used by next generations. He made a statement when he delivered the keynote speech marking the 19th commencement convocation of Mother Teach Stewart Apostolic Mission School in Broadville, outside Monrovia, at the weekend. At the end of the program, 52 students were awarded certificates for successfully completing the requirements of the school and the Ministry of Education. And the Merged Federation of Motorcycle and Tricycle Union of Liberia, through its National Executive Committee, has declared a vote of no confidence in its president, John Kayon. MFMTUL National Executive Committee also announced a major leadership change following the removal of its president. During a press conference Monday, the group vice president for operations, Stephen Weir, said it was important to inform the public, especially motorcyclists, tricyclists, and partner organizations across Liberia about the recent development. The Merge Foundation of Motorcycle and Tricycle Union of Liberia Executive Committee noted that the leadership change is aimed at strengthening the organization's operations and restoring confidence, among other things. We are explained that the executive committee has moved to restructure the federation leadership to ensure stability and accountability. As part of the process, Due Mogba has been confirmed and inducted as the interim president of the federation.
Simon Juice with the news bulletin. The news bulletin is a regular feature on King's Newsroom. Reminder, you're listening to King's Newsroom 45 minutes news about Liberia, Africa, and our one word. Stories we're following tonight. Students of Harper Demonstration High School in Maryland demand immediate renovation of school building and commencement of learning activities. Accuse local authorities of halting renovation works initiated by a private group. Liberia Telecommunications Authority former Chairman Abdullahi Kamara released on US 295,000 criminal appearance bond, meaning after incarceration at Morovia Central Prison for economic sabotage and other corruption related charges. Renowned human rights lawyer and political leader of Liberian People's Party challenges Liberian journalists to uphold integrity and principles. Councillor Tiawan Gongolo says Liberian media is being entrenched with catch for content practices. Away from home, Africa's former First Lady Simon Gbagbo 76 is the surprise inclusion in a list of five candidates who have been officially cleared to contest next month's presidential election. We'll take a break to be back with voices of the newsmakers. Welcome back and thanks for being there. More than 100 students of Harpo Demonstration High School on Tuesday took to the streets in Harpo to protest against what they termed local government officials' refusal to renovate their school. The public school students carrying placards chanted slogans including "We want our building," "We want to go to school," "No building, no lesson" for all. They expressed frustration over their exclusion from classes while other students have resumed the 2025-2026 academic year. Speaking on behalf of the student, Melvin To, Student Council Government President, questioned Maryland County Superintendent Henry Cole about the decision to stop the renovation works.
Okay, I'm student Melvin Astor Gales Jr., president of the school and also head of the team that is protesting today. Yeah, we are in the school because our building is up there. You can see our building now. They have scattered our building. No see nothing. Not in the school. We just taking the house. For the time the school was burnt, or not just for the time they paid the school was funded. The government we are going to raise the issue that we need renovation, we need renovation, we need renovation. Other than that, seeking for renovation. The government refused to renovate our school. Today, we learn our Augusta American key for Noah and ask to renovate the school. Rather than now, carry on the project, the local government, which of course they receive both the office of the Ministry of Education, between the superintendent, they stop the renovation. Rather than want to do the new BOQ, which of course will do a business of property, or what they need there. They might provide all necessary property, but still, the government still will stop the renovation of the school. Today we are out to let the government know that we are citizens of this country and we need a better education. Because as we get from the Constitution of 1986, we say that, let's just say, Article 6 verse 1, we say that all citizens of this country need better education, quality, and what? So, as you can see, the Democracy now, we don't have a quality institution. Our belly is poor. For the time they remove the belly, they all remove the belly, we are better now for the past 2 months now. Why I look at better education, quality education. We want for the government to immediately renovate our building before we can come down. We need for our building to be renovated. And secondly, we want for all the students that are within the district to help us to guide us in the line so that the government can see reason to renovate our building.
In response, Superintendent Ko denied that the government issued any order halting the renovation, further disturbing the matter's politics, and clarified that the BDF Foundation did not consult local authorities before commencing the project.
The local government have not started any renovation. You hear me? The local government did not start any renovation. What they are doing with you, they are saying politics with you. I'm not prepared for politics. I came to this country for the purpose of development. The people went to the school. The procedure is you have to tell me what you intend to do. First of all, I saw demonstration school as an alumni together with some of my colleagues in the United States. And we saw that the school was very deplorable. So what we did was that we decided to meet the Ministry of Education. We met the ministry and they told us they didn't have anything for now to fix the school. So we did a tour of the school and we found out that there was a need for the school to be repaired. So we did the communication with the Ministry of Internal Affairs so that the council can have it as a priority project. The ministry have consented and the money has been made available. Before that, we saw that the local foundation went to the school. Now, we told them to come to us so we can dialogue together on what they intend to do to the school. The local foundation has not come to us to discuss. Yesterday, the local foundation, the owner of the business, owner of the foundation, apologized for the level that they are taking. I just spoke to him 10 minutes ago because we told them that school is the school of this country and it's in the center of this country. So what we will do is that we'll follow for them what are they able to do because they cannot do the entire building. That whole building is damaged. So we will do the building and we asked them to come. He just told me Monday they were coming. He got on, he said he forgot. So 12 o'clock today, the people will be coming to
Maryland County Superintendent. Earlier, you heard the voice of Melvin Toh, student council government president of the Harper Demonstration High School. A man believed to be in his 60s named Rudolph Tej is making an urgent appeal to humanitarians and local authorities for support as he struggles to treat himself of cancer. Rudolph Tej, a resident of the police academy community, says he has been suffering from the condition for about a year.
Started last September with a little bump on my back. It was a kister, so they said, Daddy, something is going on your back. And I didn't think it would have been I never knew it would have been something big. And all of a sudden, it started growing. It grew as big as an orange. And I went to GFK. Well, I was still on my back at first, and I started bleeding. I went to GFK. They used to wash the soap. So they one period is about that my country let me down. I worked for so many years. The benefit I supposed to enjoy my whole age is taken from me. And that's not life all over. I'm a bit disappointed because when you work, it is the retirement benefit is where you live at. So where do I get it? And the children that I have that put by themselves.
He is Rudolph Tej, a man believed to be in his 60s, seems to be struggling with cancer. Resigned senior economic consultant at the Ministry of Finance and Development and Planning, C.M.A. Cole has criticized Finance Minister Augustin Gafon's leadership, accusing him of poor administrative oversight and allowing the ministry to operate on autopilot. In a strong statement issued regarding the $2.8 million of budget spending, the former consultant alleged that the ministry is plagued by lack of coordination, weak internal controls, and minimal accountability. Mayco pointed to the 2025 General Auditing Commission report, which revealed that the government, through the Ministry of Finance, could not account for $2.8 million in public funds.
Minister Gafwan have shown to be very incompetent in running the affairs of the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. He's not a very good administrator at all. The ministry is just on autopilot, basically. All the ministers that are appointed, assistant, deputies, they're all doing their own thing, and there's no coordinator from the Minister of Finance. Let's take, for example, simple thing in regards to administration or administrative issues. Gafwan himself said that, let's take the GSC report. That's the current one, GSC report that was done in 2025. GSC said that Gafwan and its ministers could not account for $2.8 million US dollars. And the Ministry of Finance came up with a rebuttal saying that they have some archive issue and that's why they could not account because the document lost in the archive. But that's not true. The document is there and they have reason why they are holding that document. The Ministry of Finance has great system in storage documentations. The Ministry of Finance to write a check for a check of $5 to leave Ministry of Finance. It goes through at least 29 different persons. 29 different offices and units. If you say that the archive issue, the archive of Ministry of Finance is way behind the mansion there by the ocean there. So every person that signs a document of Ministry of Finance keeps a copy of the signed document. When the document comes, all the documents are returned to the Minister of Finance and sent downstairs to the budget minister. From the budget minister, it goes to a city minister of budget, then it goes to the various units. The director of that particular unit does a memo to the minister saying that they have reviewed the document and they have met all the PFN laws, the procurement laws, the budget laws. So they advise that we go ahead and do allotment. He signs that document, he takes a copy, and then store himself and goes to the next chain. And it goes through probably, as I said, about 29 different persons. So there are 39 copies of each document that is kept as record in each of the units that touch that document. This is 2024 audit. I can still find documents that I signed in 2014 in my office. Gafwan they got a document, but they don't want to put the document outside because one of the issues at Ministry of Finance is the off-budget spending. Off-budget spending are budgets or the money that's spent that's in the national budget, and that's one of the places where corruption is very entrenched because accountability is easier. Gafwan spoke about it and said, like, in most cases they do off-budget when it's emergency. So you tell me, you give the airport authority $200,000. The airport authority is an SOE. They collect revenues, collect money, and they spend their own money. Why are we getting an extra $200,000 for? Was there any emergency at the airport recently? No. So Gafwan to answer those questions.
Resigned senior economic consultant at the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, say Mayco. The University of Liberia's campus-based Student Unification Party has strongly rejected recent efforts by House Speaker Rachel Cohn to restore calm at the institution, vowing to continue protest over what it describes as long-standing grievances. Speaker Cohn recently met with the university's authorities and representatives of SUP in an attempt to mediate ongoing tensions between students and administration. However, speaking to journalists on Monday at the university's Capitol Hill campus, SUP leaders condemned what they call posted of facilities across UL campuses and reiterated corruption allegations against the university's leadership.
Mapaya is a disappointment, and Mapaya has failed to run a university. It's clear that in 3 days, we cannot see concrete things, especially our demands being answered decisively. Party will ensure that Mapaya leaves the University of Liberia, and there will be unspecified resolution. Prior to even having meeting with legislature in an attempt to have dialogue, we have had meetings. In 7 months, Mapaya has been president of the University of Liberia. The party has initiated tons of conversation on the issue of basic necessity of the students. Why is Mapaya not addressing it? Why is Mapaya not addressing the issue of buses? We ran a whole semester last semester without a single bus on the center, and the party is clear. These are basic things that the university must achieve. You cannot be making 50,000 employing your critics. You are increasing the salary of a secretary to 437%, but you cannot provide the basic needs of the students. We see that as a disappointment, And we all are disappointed in the leadership of Mapaya. People thought that Mapaya coming to the University of Liberia, especially someone with different civilization, she will effect a decisive policy at the University of Liberia in upholding the rights of the people, especially the right to due process. Mapaya has engaged in witch hunting people, illegally dismissing people. She has refused to provide report that inform us on the dismissed people. She has refused to address the basic situation on the campus. Our meeting with her, it was just a meeting to go and re-echo our position. And if she commit to it, or the government can commit to that, like we said, beginning Thursday, if we cannot see concrete action, especially ensuring that bosses are failure, ensuring that the iron trap issue can be addressed, ensuring that this semester that is coming be a second semester, full second semester, so that the vacation school can be a vacation school, ensuring that she can make available report that inform our decision on the dismissed people, ensuring that she can get rid of so-called employees, so-called people she has informed to the University of Liberia. There will be a special action. The party will ensure that my parents leave the university.
A reminder you're listening to King's News, Broom 45-minute news about Liberia, Africa, in our one word. Stories are following tonight. Students of Harper Demonstration High School in Maryland demand immediate renovation of school building and commencement of learning activities. Accused local authorities of halting renovation works initiated by a private group. Liberia Telecommunications Authority former chairman Abdullahi Kamara released on US $295,000 criminal appearance bond minutes after incarceration at Monrovia Central Prison for economic sabotage and other corruption-related charges. Renowned human rights lawyer and political leader of Liberian People's Party challenges Liberian journalists to uphold integrity and principles. Councilor Tier 1 Gonglo says Liberian media is being entrenched with cut for content practices. Away from home, Africa's former First Lady, Simon Gbagbo 76, is the surprise inclusion in a list of 5 candidates who have been officially cleared to contest next month's presidential election. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has resigned amid the party's worst unrest in decades as public anger mounts over the deaths of 19 anti-corruption protesters in clashes with police on Monday. We'll take another break to be back with more voices. Welcome back and thanks for being there. And what is the strat as a strategic international engagement on behalf of Liberia's legal community? The president of the Liberia National Bar Association, Councillor Bono Vaman, is suspected to undertake a multi-week official mission to the United States. The trip is expected to last between 3 weeks to a month, will involve visits to several states institutions as part of efforts to build partnerships and mobilize support for the legal sector in the country. According to Councillor Vama, the primary objective of the visit includes fostering exchange programs for Liberian lawyers and law students, identify opportunities for capacity building initiatives, and seeking logistical support to bolster the bar's programs and infrastructure.
These institutions have invited me as national president of the Liberian National Bar Association to visit the U.S. to engage them on interventions in the interest of the Liberian lawyers, the entire legal community of the Republic of Liberia. So I will be departing the country, and I'm going to be away for between 3 weeks to 1 month. It's going to be hectic for me because I'm going to be traveling from states to states just to remain engaged with these relevant institutions and individuals in the interest of the Liberian National Bar Association. We are concerned about exchange programs for Liberian lawyers. We are concerned about exchange programs for the Louis Arthur School of Law between the Louis Arthur School of Law and some of the universities in the U.S. We also are concerned about capacity building initiatives for Liberian lawyers. We are concerned about logistical support. You may be aware that we are about to complete the ground floor of our ambitious headquarters project. And so I'm going out there to look for opportunity to see how we can furnish that building. It's going to be hectic, but very, 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 very productive because this is something that we have since envisaged, and we think it's good that we're making this trip to the U.S. to make sure that the interests of members of the legal community of this country can be protected. So We are grateful to those institutions that have accorded us this invitation, which is going to provide us an opportunity to remain engaged with them during our stay in the U.S. And so we have provided briefing to the National Executive Council, and so they are quite informed about this trip. And so we are making this trip in that light to ensure that the bar interest is protected out there. It is provided for under the Constitution of the Liberal National Bar Association that we are supposed to remain engaged with different bar associations around the world. And so it is in light of that constitutional provision that we are making this trip.
Liberia National Bar Association President Councillor Bono Vama. Former Minister of Justice Councillor Musa Dane has challenged graduates of high schools to make their existence on earth worthwhile in order to impact society positively. Councillor Dane said every human being has a destiny, and at the end of their existence, everyone will have to take the exit, but the present service to humanity and community will be used by the next generation. He made a statement when he delivered a keynote speech marking the 19th commencement convocation of the modern Tivest Apostolic Pentecostal Mission School in Browville.
You have the challenge to make your living worthwhile. All of us have our destiny. And at the end of our service to our God and to humanity, we will take our exit. How do you wish to be remembered? Certainly, you don't want when your name is called, you say, oh, that cheat, that liar that is over here, oh, that wicked man. Then your living shall have very evening. But if you serve humanity, if you believe in the principles of good and bad, if you help somebody, of course, your living shall not be in vain. Then we need to go back to the old ways. It's not there we learn principles. Love your neighbor as yourself. Love your enemies. Bless them that hurt you. Do good with them that hate you. Pray for them or for those who despitefully use you and prosecute you. Where are those principles today? But the real learning took place when you capitalize that instruction from the school into your study in the quieter environment. Our last purpose for a good education, of course, we say to serve humanity, but when we reduce it, it is to serve also your community. And we say much about what you can do in the community. And we ask that each of you be a shining example of a good community.
Former Minister of Justice, Councillor Musa Dane. The Emerged Federation of Motorcycle and Tricycle Union of Liberia, through its National Executive Committee, has declared a vote of no confidence in its president, John Keon. And from the National Executive Committee also announced a major leadership change following the removal of its president. During a press conference on Monday, the Group Vice President for Operations, Stephen Weir, said it was important to inform the general public, especially motorcyclists, tricyclists, and partner organizations across Liberia about the recent development.
The National Executive Committee, NEC, and the incorporator of the Emerged Federation of Motorcycle and Tricycle Union of Liberia, INFORM2, which is to inform the general public, partners, and all motorcyclists and tricyclists across Liberia of recent resolution and actions taken in the interest of the Federation. Following the removal of Mr. A. John F. Kenyon as President General of INFORM2, through a vote of no confidence passed on July 28, 2025,
the National Executive Committee and the Incorporator have unanimously resolved to restructure the Executive Committee as follows. Mr. Dwar Mola, current Vice President for Administration, VBA, is hereby selected, confirmed, and endorsed as an interim President General of the Marriage Federation of Motorcycle and Tricycle Union Liberia. Mr. Stephen W. Weah Sr., current Vice President for Operations, is hereby selected, confirmed, and endorsed as Vice President for Administration. Mr. Anthony B. Sayon, Vice President for Motorcycle Affairs, is hereby selected, confirmed, and endorsed as Vice President for Operations. The following Executive Committee members shall retain their positions with the exception of the Vice President for Motorcycle Affairs, which is currently vacant. 1. Vice President for Trade, Commerce, and Investment, Mr. Donato G. Buffer. Vice President for Tricycle Affairs, Mr. Joseph F. Riches. Secretary General, Mr. Jacob Stopper. Executive Director for Budget and Finance, Mr. Axel N. Johnson. Deputy Secretary for Administration, Mr. Daniel Silly. The National Executive Committee hereby reaffirm that Mr. A. Joseph Kino is no longer the head of the Executive Committee or the President General of M-Fontu. Accordingly, no person or institution should conduct business with him in the name of the Federation. All official businesses must be conducted with the current leadership headed by Mr. Dwar Mola, Interim President General.
M-Fontu Vice President for Operations Stephen Weah. Away from home, Africa Coast former First Lady Simone Gbagbo 76 is the surprise inclusion in a list of 5 candidates who have been officially cleared to contest next month's presidential election. She will run against President Alassane Ouattara, 83, who took power after she and her former husband, Laurent Gbagbo, were captured in a presidential bunker during the conflict that hit the country after the 2010 election. But the ex-president has been barred from contesting the pool along with ex-Prime Minister Pascal Affi and ex-Credit Suisse Bank CEO. And Prime Minister KP Shaman Oli has resigned amid Nepal's worst unrest in decades as public anger mounts over the deaths of 19 anti-corruption protesters in clashes with police on Monday. On Tuesday, crowds set fire to parliament in the capital, sending thick black smoke billowing into the sky. Government buildings and houses of political leaders were attacked around the country. 3 more deaths were reported on Tuesday. Amid the chaos, jail officials said 900 inmates managed to escape from 2 prisons in the past western districts. But on that note, that's how we'll come to a near end of this edition of King's News Broom. But before we leave, a quick reminder of stories we followed in the headlines. Students of Harpo Demonstration High School in Maryland demand immediate renovation of school building and commencement of learning activities, accused local authorities of halting renovation works initiated by a private group. Liberia Telecommunications Authority former Chairman Abdullahi Kamara released on U.S. $295,000 criminal appearance bond minutes after incarceration at Monrovia Central Prison for economic sabotage and other corruption-related charges. You also heard in the news renowned human rights lawyer and political leader of Liberian People's Party challenges Liberian journalists to uphold integrity and principles. Councillor Tiawan Gonglo says Liberian media is being entrenched with catch for content practices. Away from home, Africa Coast former First Lady Simone Gbagbo 76 is the surprise inclusion in a list of 5 candidates who have been officially cleared to contest next month's presidential election. Prime Minister KP Shaman Oli has resigned amid the past worst unrest in decades as public anger mounts over the deaths of 19 anti-corruption protesters in clashes with police on Monday. Many thanks to our reporters, correspondents, and all those who have been making this edition of King's Newsroom a success. Sam Andrews brought you the news bulletin. Nathan Tokba sat at control and handled the technical aspect of this edition. On behalf of the team, I'm Shem Mondale. I presented. Thanks for listening and watching.